So we're down here on location today. I was alerted that there was a handful of trees that were cut down on this hill behind this church, and I was told that I can kind of just grab anything I want. So they're gonna let me come in and just grab anything I want. I'm allowed to make as much of a mess as I want because all of this is just gonna be mulched down here no matter what I do. So I can just come down here, make a mess, and grab what I want. There's a handful of trees that were cut down here, but the biggest of which was this massive cedar. We gotta be looking at least 2 foot, maybe 2.5. I won't know until I pull it out because I gotta cut it, but there's a section here that's gotta be 20 foot long, and it's as straight as an arrow here. All right, so I'm standing on the edge of it here. You can look how straight this thing is, and that maybe is about maybe 20 feet high. I'm not gonna be able to pull the whole 20 foot out with the small trailer that I got, but I think I can pull out some 8-foot sections. So mostly I'm worried that my trailer, let's get back up there. I'm mostly worried that my trailer isn't gonna be able to manage it because you guys saw me build that and it's got the wooden arch on it. If I'm careful, I shouldn't break it, but we're gonna put it through its real test today. So the astute amongst you probably just heard me call this log cedar, and it turned out that it was not that, and that was part of the reason that this was such a difficult day. I didn't have any seeds or leaves to go off of, so all I had to go off of was the bark, and when I looked the bark up on the app, it told me it was most likely cedar, and that's what I went with. It turns out that what this log actually is oak, and the reason that's important is because it's twice the weight of cedar, so all of the math I was doing on scene was completely wrong. The first thing I needed to do was to clean up the area just a little bit so that I could have access to some of these logs. To pick it up. Okay, so here's what I'm looking now that I got a bunch of this crap out of the way. So I have the crotch section here, which is definitely something I want to try and leave so that I can slab. I don't know exactly how wide my mill is, but I think this is slightly wider than that. So I'm going to cut this here, but that gives me the crotch section to work with for slabbing. And then I got something like an 8-foot section here. I'm going to try and cut off as much of this nonsense over here as possible. Smaller crotch section here. This is just going to be scrapped. That's very rotten on that corner, so I'm going to just ignore all that. And then I got something like 2 8 to 10 foot sections here that I'm going to pull out. So I have 1, 2, I need to measure, and then 3. I know it looks like the log isn't moving here, but I promise it is. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. We had a 3-to-1 reduction for the pulley system to get this up, and it probably took us about 45 minutes just to get it to the top of the hill so that I could lift it the rest of the way with the trailer. So this trailer, as it's designed, is basically designed to lift about a 1,000-pound log. And when I was doing the rudimentary math for this log here, I thought that it was right around 950 pounds. That's what the math put it at. But basically, because I misidentified it, it was twice as heavy as I thought I was lifting. I never expected to be able to lift more than 1,000 pounds with the arch, and the trailer itself is only rated for about 1,000. And the winch is designed to lift about 5,000, but you know how winches are. I don't really know how those measurements work. It was also bogging down and having a heck of a time lifting this log.
But don't break anything. Go!
Gosh.
We did it though. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Do it. That's all I can go. I'm at the end of my snatch block here.
That is awesome.
We kept running into an issue that every time we wanted to move the strap down to get a better hold, it was sliding down so far that we could only make a couple of inches of progress every time we wanted to recinch the log. And so what we ended up doing was putting a smaller log underneath it so that it wouldn't slide down, and then we could recinch the log, and then it loaded beautifully. The physics of a trailer like this are so interesting, and it's a little hard to get used to, but once you get used to it, the thing is incredibly useful.
That's it. That's all I can do with the winch.
We were obviously pretty excited once we got the log on the trailer. Now at this point I knew I had a 40-mile trek ahead of me. Because of the excess weight of this log, it was putting so much extra pressure on the tires that they were heating up as I was driving, so I ended up having to stop for about half an hour 2 separate times to let the tires cool down. But I eventually did make it home. But just before I left, my brother took this picture of me. Now I'm gonna warn you, the rest of this video is going to make you cringe. I actually had an easier time getting the log on than I did getting it off. And oh my gosh, the sounds this trailer made. Ugh. Well, this was definitely an eyes bigger than your stomach sort of situation. I got it farther into the weeds than I wanted, but that's fine. It'll make it easier to mow around. Over at the trailer, here's the damage. For those of you who always wonder why I build things out of wood rather than metal, nothing wood broke on here. It was all the metal stuff that broke. So I bent the frame here. The second and third are bent as well. So I think those are going to have to be replaced. And then I'll probably be able to use the same deck boards. And I did break this is the last thing that you heard, that bang right at the end. That was those things breaking, but luckily those are cheap. That's an easy fix. The cross members here are definitely gonna have to be replaced, and I think when I do that I might try to increase the rigidity of it. I'm not 100% sure how I'm gonna do that. Probably gonna do all that stuff off camera so that next time you see this, hopefully it'll be back up and running. Well, thank you all for watching. Anybody who watched this interesting escapade. I got the log though, and so that, if I can figure out how to get that thing over towards my my building, that's where my mill is, and so I'm probably gonna have to wheel the mill out and just mill it right on the ground. So all I'd have to do is drag it. I gotta figure out how to get it over here though. Let me know what you think. Thank y'all for watching. Catch y'all next time.